Hey everyone, it's Josh here. Today, we're going to be walking you through how to set up your first LinkedIn advertisement campaign. Now, advertisement platforms and specifically their dashboards can look awfully scary, but I'm sure you'll agree with me that by the end of this video, they don't have to be. We're going to walk you through everything you need to know to set up your first campaign, audience, advertisements, and more, and hopefully allow you to hit the ground running. So without further ado, let's jump right into LinkedIn ads. So jumping right into things here, it says get started with LinkedIn ads. Now, if you hit the create an ad button, it'll actually take you into a menu where you can link it up to your LinkedIn account, and eventually, going through the prompts, you should get to something that looks like this. Now, when you get to the dashboard that looks like this, you should see a lot of things, a lot of buttons, a lot of tabs, but don't fear if this looks a little bit complicated. I'm gonna walk you through everything there is to know about the menus and how to set up your first advertisement campaign, audience, etc. So looking at the top menu here, before we even get to the side, you're gonna see a couple tabs at the top. Campaign groups, campaigns, and ads. Now, if you go under the campaigns tab, you can see this button here that says create. And this is going to be a very important button on this page. You can see you can create a campaign or a campaign group. Well, what's the difference? We'll get into that in a moment. The next one here says ads. And if we click into that, we can see it looks generally the same, but obviously it's a little bit different because we're creating a campaign versus just your single ad. You can see here that if we go and hit the create button while under the ads tab, we actually can't go and create our first advertisement yet. And that's because we haven't set up a campaign or a campaign group, which are highly recommended to actually go and set up before you actually get to your ad. And obviously you need a campaign in this case because you can't go set up an ad without it. Now, while I'm under the campaign tab here, we're gonna simply hit the big blue button that says create and hit create campaign group. Not campaign, very specific. Now your campaign group will group your campaigns based on what's important to you. For example, objective, project, location, budget, etc. It makes it a lot easier to manage the multiple campaigns that you may be running and the ads you're actually creating within them. So in my case, I'm gonna say Josh's campaign group. We'll say that. We can set the status as either active or draft. And obviously, setting the status allows you to turn on and off all campaigns. In our case, we don't want it to run immediately, so we're gonna set it to draft. And we can say what the group objectives are. We can streamline the workflow by setting one objective for all campaigns within that campaign group, whether it's brand awareness, website visits, video views, etc. We can set, based on our own particular preferences, the goal of our campaign. Sometimes getting conversions is the most important thing in an advertisement campaign. Sometimes it's just getting people to know who you are. This all is done right here. So in my case, I'm just gonna set in the conversions tab the lead generation. And you can see if you hover over each of these buttons, you have a little bit more information about what you would actually be wanting to achieve if you chose this feature. So in my case, I'm gonna choose the lead generation under the conversions tab. And you see if I hover over that, I can see a little bit more information about who would want to do that. So in my case, choose this objective to capture leads on LinkedIn, use a lead generator from a pre-filled with LinkedIn profile data, that's the form, and directly integrate with a lead management platform. Now, if this is something I want to do, I can choose this. So we'll click on that and we can see that, yes, this is the objective I want to have for my group. And we can set our schedule when it's going to start. So in my case, I'm going to say set a start and end date with a budget. So we'll say the lifetime budget of this is, in my case, I'll say $1. We'll set the start date as, maybe tomorrow. And then we'll set the end date maybe, a month from now. We'll say March 8th to April 8th. We'll hit create here. And now if I go and hit this, it has to be after the 8th. Sorry. So we'll say the 9th there. And we'll hit the create button. Now, when we hit this create button, we're gonna create and use in a new campaign, this campaign group. Just a side note here, you have to have a minimum campaign budget for $100 before it'll actually allow you to create that campaign group. So if we go and hit the blue button in the bottom right-hand corner, we're gonna create that group. So now we've got our campaign group. Now, before we get too much further into this LinkedIn ads tutorial, I do wanna give a quick shout out to a pretty cool ads tracking software that I've recently just come across called Voluum, spelled V-O-L-U-U-M. It's really cool for just giving you better access to tracking your ads across all your different platforms. And it especially relates to this because it gives you a better idea of how to track your ads, track the specific key metrics that you're gonna have to work with when you're actually creating your campaigns and your advertisements, and overall just giving you a better ad experience. I'll leave a link to them down in the description below if you wanna go check them out. With that being said, let's get back to the LinkedIn ads tutorial. Now, if we hover over this, and again, we're under the campaign groups tab now, this is the first tab up above, we can see Josh's campaign group. And if we hover over this and click into it, we can see everything there is to know about our campaign group. And within here, we can actually create our first campaign. Now, if we have the campaigns for one group, we're looking at all the campaigns for this group, we can create our first advertisement campaign. Now, we can say, let's say Josh's awesome campaign. We can set the objective here, either being brand awareness, website visits. In our case, we'll say brand awareness. We want more people to be aware. Who are we going to target based on our audience? We can either choose a pre-done LinkedIn template for us, or we can reach members by seniority, job function, industry, etc. Pretty much deciding who we actually want to target with these advertisements. In this case, I'm going to choose from a list of custom audiences. Oh, LinkedIn's giving me an error here. So I guess in my case, we're going to say, yeah, let's say anybody with a bachelor's degree. That's who we're going to want to target with this ad. Canada, and we'll also add some new locations here like United Kingdom and then United States here. There's also a checkbox here which allows us to automatically target people who may be similar to the people we've set. So in my case, I just want to actually have more than this. So I'll check that box. And with that, by selecting LinkedIn template, choosing members with a bachelor's degree, setting Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States as the audience that I'm trying to reach, and also targeting automatic audience expansion, we've made it so that we know who we're targeting our advertisement campaign towards. And then in the ad format section, we can either choose a single image or a video and the associated page we want to have it linked to. Because obviously you want to have this associated with a specific company, a page, a product, whatever it may be. This is the point where you can link that directly in your advertisement manager. Now, an important thing to note here is that to actually have this set up, we need to have a company or showcase page required for this advertisement format. And that also goes true for videos. So in my case here, I'm just going to set Shell as the associated LinkedIn page. And once we click next or save, this page will be permanently associated with your account. So in my case, I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to say LinkedIn Audience Network, place ads on trusted third-party publishers where LinkedIn engages your audience. I'm not going to check that off personally because I don't want to have my advertisements run anywhere other than LinkedIn. And if we look at the bottom here and see budget and schedule, we can see this is where we can set our lifetime budget for the advertisement campaign, the start date, end date, and then we can either save and continue or save and exit. Now, before we actually go ahead and create our campaign, it's important to note on the right side of the page that there are over 42 million people who match the criteria that we've actually set up. Now, this can be a great thing if we want to target a large number of people. There is a problem though. If you target too many people, you're really targeting nobody. So it's important to make sure that when you're setting up, especially if it is your first advertisement campaign, that you're targeting a specific group of people so that you can actually engage with your audience directly. If you set it to be 1 billion people, obviously there are going to be a lot of people who aren't interested in the advertisements you have to offer, and they won't be as interested and your campaign won't do as well. So that's why it's important to, while appealing to a broad number of people, making sure that those people actually are interested in whatever you're advertising. So if I hit save and continue here, we can see save our campaign, and now we can create an ad for our campaign. And all we have to do here, we can either browse or we can create new. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the create new button. And this is where we can set up our ad details. So in my case, we can name this ad, we'll say Josh's ad, and we'll say our introductory text, and I'll just put an emoji of a smiling guy. What destination URL we want to have. This is where this is actually going to redirect them if they click on our advertisement. Do we want them to go to a LinkedIn page? Do we want them to go to a website? This URL is wherever we want to send whoever is viewing our advertisement and may be interested in what we have to offer. So in my case, I'm just going to say HTTPS and I'll say LinkedIn. We'll just linkedin.com. And we'll set it as that. And it's important to note that scraping will transfer the image and text from the URL to our ad. So be careful that you're actually going to be using the correct link. Otherwise, you're going to be sending somebody to the wrong place and potentially pulling the wrong pieces of information and, images, that sort of thing. Just be careful. And then we can actually create up to 5 ads by selecting multiple images from the library or uploading directly. Now, in my case, I'm not going to upload these images, so we're going to go to Shutterstock, which allows us to have these free licensed photos, and they must comply with the LinkedIn advertisement policies, which I highly encourage you go read before you actually set up your first campaign. In my case, I'm just going to select 2024 and we'll say preview an ad. Okay, we'll add that in here and we'll say add to library, and we can do that. It's important to note that if you aren't going to be using your own images, you're only going to have 10 available from Shutterstock. After that, you will have to pay. If we enter something snappy in for the headline here, like check out my ad, which is a terrible title, but this is just for the purpose of showing you how you can actually set up your first ad. We can see, check out my ad, linkedin.com, the image, got our text at the top here, and we can select the call to action. And the call to action is basically what the button that they're gonna see, the specific text inside of it is gonna be. So is it apply, download, view quote, learn more, sign up? In my case, I'll say join. And then you can see in the bottom right-hand corner here, it now says join. Now, if I go down here, you can see that there's nowhere left to go, and all we have to do is hit save ad. And if you want to automatically add this to your campaign, just have this checkbox that says add to campaign checked, and it will automatically be added to the campaign that you are currently working in. The nice thing about LinkedIn ads too is that you can also see the desktop feed of what your advertisement will look like, but also the mobile feed. So we can see how it will look on multiple devices. With that being said, I'm just going to hit the save ad button in the bottom right hand corner, and it's going to say saving your ads. And now we've got our ad. Awesome. In this case, if I hit next, we can actually set up the business information. The business information, our address, our payment method, and then luckily it didn't autofill any data there, but other than my name. And with that set up, our campaign group, our campaign, and our very first advertisement, all we would have to do is put in our business information and a payment method which we would pay for the ad spend with, and we'd be ready to start putting our first ads on LinkedIn. Now, again, you have to comply with LinkedIn's advertisement terms and conditions to make sure that you actually can put their advertisement on their platform and it meets their guidelines. But assuming that you don't post anything bad on there, it should be a short time frame for you to actually get approved. So assuming I put that information in, the business information and the payment method, we would just have to hit this agree and launch campaign, and your campaign would be launched. From the left-hand side here, you can see campaign, which is showing the campaign that we're currently working in. If we go to ads here, we can see the ads that we have set up on this campaign. LinkedIn recommends that for your advertisement campaign, you have 5 different advertisements just so that you can actually go and see which ones are performing better and maybe allocate things differently. LinkedIn says that there is a 20% increased click-through rate for advertisements that have 5 different variations. So I highly recommend you doing this for you, even if it is your very first advertisement campaign on LinkedIn. And then all you would have to do is go down to the bottom of the page here and click this agree and launch campaign, and your campaign would be good to go. Now that you know how to set up your first campaign group, your first campaign, and your very first ad, we can actually go back and see the rest of the platform. If we hit the back arrow here and go back to account, we can actually go and see that on the side here, we have the plan tab, which is the audiences we have set up. Now, this is where we can actually create, if we weren't using one of LinkedIn's preset audience templates, our own custom audience. And if we clicked on the create audience tab, we can do company/contact, offline events. We could retarget, video, simple image, lead generation forms, all of that. It's with this feature that we can create a custom vision of who we want to target our advertisements towards. The second tab that's under plan here, we can actually see brand safety, and this is where we can actually control where our ads appear. Now, we can actually download the LinkedIn Audience Network publisher list to see all the possible places that our advertisement could appear off LinkedIn, should we choose to do that. We can use this list as a template or upload our own. This allows you to control where your ads are shown and where your ads are not shown. The advertisement tab on the side here is pretty much everything that we've shown up until this point. That's where you can get back to your campaign groups, campaigns, and ads. And then if we go down to the test tab here, this is where we can actually create tests to further optimize our campaigns, testing out different things like A and B. Which ad performs better, this version or this version, and seeing which one gets more clicks, etc., based on your particular specifications. Below the test tab is the analyze tab, and under that we can see insight tags, conversion tracking, and website actions. Now, an insight tag actually allows you to track conversions, retarget your web visitors, and view demographic information on the people who visit your website. This allows you to see who is actually clicking on your ad. Not the people that you want to click on your ad, but who is actually clicking on your ad. Maybe you made it so that you wanted to target anybody with a bachelor's degree. Well, in your case, you could actually have everyone with master's degrees clicking through, even though you targeted bachelor's degree members. This allows you to have further idea on who you're actually getting clicking on your advertisement. And you can tweak and refine your ads to further suit either getting the right person or adjusting so you're not getting the wrong person. LinkedIn also has a recommendations tab here, which does give you a few tips and tricks on how to actually go and set up your first advertisement campaign. And how satisfied are we with the recommendations experience? Well, I don't quite know yet. In my case, it's a beta, and if we click on this, we can see that they're exploring new ways to show recommendations, adding new types of recommendations to help you improve your advertisement campaigns, your audience retention, your click-through rates, whatever it is that you might be trying to do with LinkedIn ads. Under the assets tab here, if we click on it, we can see all of our different options, the lead generation forms, landing pages, asset history, and conversions, all things that are going to be highly relevant to your LinkedIn advertisement campaigns. Underneath that, we can see our account settings, and this is where we can see the access to our account, billing center, edit our account information, etc. Pretty much everywhere you're going to have to actually go on the admin side of running your LinkedIn advertisement campaigns. Now, as a final touch, let's talk about everything you need to know about your campaigns, campaign groups, and advertisements, but more specifically, the different things that are going to matter the most when you're looking at all of them. In our case here, looking at our campaign group for Josh's campaign group, we can see on this dashboard, again, under the Advertise tab on the left-hand side, we can see off, on, whether our campaign is off or on, what the status is, it's currently in draft, how much we've spent on it, how many impressions we've had. Now, impressions have been people who have actually seen it in their feed. Clicks is the amount of people who actually just click on your advertisement. Then you've got your average click-through rate. Basically, if you have 1,000 people that are showing your ads or 1,000 impressions, and you have 10 people click on them, how many or what is the percentage of people that from seeing your ad actually go and click through to wherever you want them to go. Then you can see your bid as well as the average CPM. Now that stands for cost per mil, which basically means that how much are you paying per 1,000 people to view your ad. Now scrolling over to the right here to continue on, we can see the average CPC. Now CPC stands for cost per click, and that basically means that how much are you spending per person to actually click on your actual advertisement. In addition to this, you can also see your conversions, meaning the estimated amount of people who have actually taken an action after going through and clicking through your advertisement to get to wherever you want them to go. And then we can see our cost per conversion. How much is it actually costing to convert someone? We can see the number of leads for this campaign as well as the cost per leads. If the action that you're trying to get someone to go towards is an event, we can actually see here the amount of people who are registering to that from seeing your ad. And as well as this, we can actually see people who go and click through on your ad that don't have a personal email. Specifically, if you're trying to target people who work in a business and have a business email, this is also another thing that you can see on this page. And in addition to this, we can also see the cost per work lead email acquired. And just like that, you're ready to go. All you have to do is go and set up your campaign group, your campaign, your ad, add your business information, set up a payment method, and you are all ready to go, started with your first advertisement campaign on LinkedIn. I hope I gave you all the tools, knowledge, and skills required to use LinkedIn's advertisement platform, but feel free to go back to this video and replay a couple parts and follow along so that you can start hitting the ground running with your very first LinkedIn ad campaign. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, my name is Josh Mountain. I'll see you in the next one.